You end up going back to WWF in 2002, and you're Goldust again. Did you think you would go back and be Goldust again, or did you think you were done with it in '99 when you stopped?
I wasn't real sure then because towards the end of that WCW, before they got bought out, I got really involved into drugs and alcohol really, really heavily. So I started to not give a shit about anything at that point. And going back did not, it didn't matter to me if I got a call saying, hey, we want you to come back. I was fine just being at home, you know.
And when you do come back to be Goldust, though, initially it's you're kind of not treading water, but you're there, you're promoted on TV again. But then it was, does anyone remember his teaming with Booker T?
Ooh. Finally, a big pop. What? Oh, the one with the rock? That was funny, man. That was good.
So you team with Booker T, and he'd kind of come in from WCW, and I think if people were honest, they kind of didn't treat him very well at the beginning. He was just kind of...
He's an outsider.
Yeah. But then eventually he kind of had paid his dues to WWF, I guess, in their eyes, and he is thought of as one of the WWF guys. And then you guys start this team. Was there a moment where you thought it was... Was there a moment where you knew this is something really good? And what is your favorite memory of you guys working together?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, we weren't supposed to be a team, you know. We were supposed to just do... The Rock had just filmed this new movie, The Scorpion King, his first movie. And they wanted to do a little backstage segment of Booker T and Goldust at the movies and us kind of critique the movie and in our style, two opposite people. We couldn't be further away from each other in our lifestyles, character-wise, than we were, man. And you got this androgynous, flamboyant Goldust and Booker T, you know. And we're doing this and we're swinging the swords, and they loved it. You know, the office loved it. All the boys loved it. They got good fan reactions, so they brought it back next week. They did the same thing. I thought it was just going to be a one-time thing. And then the next week, and I'm like, and then the next week. And then we started doing them live, and you could hear the crowd reactions. And this is the first time I knew that we were really onto something. It's like when Booker would be, you know, stretching or getting ready, I would walk into frame. You knew Goldust was close by at this point. And the huge pop, and we had it piped into where we could hear the crowd pop so that we could go off of the crowd and talk. And they knew that the fans looked for it every single week. They wanted to be entertained, and they were going to get it from Booker T and Goldust. So we went with it, man. And the writers, the difference in today's kids and back then were, if the writer comes and gives Finn Balor, let's say, a script for a promo, he's to cut in the ring. Finn Balor's going to go out there and he's going to, or Samoa Joe, right? Say Samoa Joe gets a promo from the writer. He goes out there, yay, I'm Samoa Joe. Next week at the pay-per-view, I'm going to kick your ass and you're going to feel the Samoa camel clutch or whatever my finish is. You know what I mean? Sure. There's no feeling because these are soap opera writers. They don't know what the they're talking about. They're just doing what Vince tells them to do and they're scared to death of Vince. So they're not going to go against Vince's wishes. So it's up to us as talent. And back then, Booker and myself, it's very important for talent to step outside of your comfort zone, to step outside of the box if you want to get yourself over. Otherwise, if you are fine staying where you're at, just keep doing what the writers tell you. My suggestion would be step outside of the box. Booker and myself would get handed a script. Whatever. Let's play off each other, Booker. You and I play off each other very well. Our chemistry was unmatched. I mean, he could say something and I'll be right there with something. I say something, he's there. Some facial expression, whatever it may be. The chemistry, man, was magical between Booker and myself. And that right now is missing in today. I think that we don't have those kind of characters. We don't have that feeling because none of them are searching for it. They're playing by the rules. They're going straight down the road. They're not veering off to the left. They're not veering off to the right. They're not stepping outside of the box like the guys before me used to do, or me back in the Attitude Era. All those guys were stepping out of the box, and that's what made it so successful.
And the guy in the front row mentioned The Rock, the promo with The Rock, where you are in disguise as The Rock. You have his shirt on, you have an eyebrow painted.
Now listen to that. That was one of my favorites. That's not the favorite, but that one in particular. See, most of our little backstage vignettes went about 2 minutes long, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The one with The Rock went over 4 minutes because it's The Rock, you know. And it was good, man. We did do a few takes on it to get it just right. But, man, it was everything just clicked. And it was so cool to be in there with The Rock and, you know, just in that scene and there every week. For me, it was great. I'm getting the exposure that I want and need. And yes, it is a funny role. And they always say, it's been brought up to me so many times that funny don't draw money. I say, it does draw money. You need to be entertained. You need to laugh. Then you need some drama. You need some wrestling and all this and that. From the start of the show, a 3-hour show on Raw, they're going to talk about the promo and set up the match for the main event. And the rest is just fill-in. And not the young kids don't realize the opportunity they have to make a statement here, but to also see what's going to be happening later in the show. So if they do everything in the second match, then the third and the fourth and the fifth match, go out there and try to do some wonderful high-flying stuff, and they just don't buy it because they've already seen it. Know your place. Know your place on the card. You know what I'm saying? Go out. We have a job. This is my job to get this guy over. Go out and do it. Nothing more, nothing less. Leave it, save it for the 10 o'clock hour, then the main event. You save stuff. You build a show. You create the drama. That's what's missing today. And with Booker and I, man, we created drama. We created entertainment. We had fun. So many fun memories with that. I mean, the Crocodile Hunter one was one of my favorites. You remember the 7-Eleven one? 7-Eleven was pretty funny, man. I mean, they shut down the whole freaking store just for us. And they were doing the promotional, cups, and Booker T was pissed off because he wasn't on the promotional cup. And I'm in disguise in a three-wheel jersey for the New York Knicks, but I still got paint on my face, so I'm disguised. I mean, what the hell, All these disguises. And I bump into him, and I'm eating a hot dog, and he's drinking a Slurpee, and I'm like, you give me a drink of your Slurpee, I'll give you a bite of my weenie. And then he gives a big retort, and I just give one of those funny faces and sexual thing towards the wiener, and then, we're out, and we've entertained him. And another one was the one in the hotel room with him and his girl, and he was getting his Mac on, right? And she's naked in the middle of the bed, and he comes in, and he gets under the covers, the lights go out, they start talking, you just see darkness, right? And then all of a sudden you hear my voice, and there's a little conversation going on. He turns on the light, what the fuck, Goldie, goddamn, Goldie, what the hell are you doing here? It's just so much fun, man. So much fun to be a part of that. I will never forget the Booker T and Goldust moments. And I wish the hell they would make a DVD set of just those moments. Don't you think it's long overdue they make a DVD of me?
It's, there was so many. You as the Duke of Gold as well.
The Duke of Gold, yes.
But I want to bring up something.
Get all sneaky wickets here. That was the one, wasn't it? See, I even remember the promo.
You also read Green Eggs and Ham, which was a firm favourite of mine. But in a gimp suit. I want to bring up a personal moment for you that might be quite hard to talk about. You did briefly in your life develop Tourette's. You were carelessly flung into an electrical panel.
Oh, are you talking about that one?
That's the one.
The tits and ass, Tourette's. Yes. Ew, 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 ew. Pop. Some stupid man. It's great.
Where in the ever-loving did that come from?
About a year before that, y'all see Jerry Springer? Okay. I sitting at home watching Jerry Springer one day, and this panel of 12, 13-year-old kids were lined up across the stage, about 10 of them. There's a little white girl on the end and a black boy down on the other end. And they're talking, and I'm just watching the show. I'm like, what the is going on here, you know? I loved Jerry Springer back then. So this little girl starts to talk, and she's ticking. And I'm like, what the is wrong with her, you know? She's kicking a little bit and ticking. And the black guy down on the end, the other end, he's like, and I'm like, what the? So they start explaining that these kids have Tourette's. I'm like, what the is Tourette's? And they're all screaming at each other, and then the little black boys, you know, starts to say something. The little girl screaming obscenities to him, you know. It's just like the funniest I have ever seen in my life. And I'm like, holy shit. So I was like, Tourette's is not like a life-threatening disease, right? I mean, you can laugh at it. It's funny as it's funny. It's not cancer, right? So I took it upon myself because 280, 300 days a year we're on the road and we get tired, you know, and the morale comes down when we're in between towns and we're driving and flying and a lot. And I took it upon myself to just try to entertain the boys a little bit. So I was going to try it. And the first time I tried it, I was in the airport and we were walking to our gate. And Bob Holly was a big part of this. Bob Holly was walking kind of in front of me, so I start walking a little faster. And he passes this couple passes Bob Holly, so I sneak up by this couple and I just and just kind of bump into them, right? And they're freaking out, like what the hell? And they start laughing. I keep walking, right? I don't sell it. I just keep walking, picking my ass and just and they start laughing. Bob says, "Don't laugh at him," man. He gets very offended at that, right? So. This is the kind of stuff, and doing it in the lockers. Goldie, do the Tourette's, man. It's funny. So it helped the morale come up. And I remember one time on the plane, this was pre 9/11. We got away with a lot of on the airplanes. I'm sitting at the window, and this old lady and this man is sitting there. But there's Bob Holly. He's sitting in the middle section over there. And it's early in the morning. I'm tired. And he looks over at me, and we kind of meet eyes, and he goes, do it. I'm like, oh, man, come on. It's like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. It's too early. And I'm thinking to myself, he's like, come on, do it. So I was like, okay. And it's hard to do on command sometimes. So I'm just laying there, and I just start kicking the seat first. It's like, and I start making these low moaning noise. Pop goes a weasel, you know. I'm just screaming out whatever pops into my mind. And this lady's freaked out now, and she's leaning over in her husband's lap. And they start laughing, and I'm looking out the window. Bird, you know, stupid. Bob says, don't laugh at him, man. He hates it. And he says, Dustin, did you take your medication? This is how he fit into this thing, because he was part of it from this point on. Did you take your medication this morning? And I'm just like, I'm rocking in my seat like rocking in my seat. No, man, I ran out, and just really screaming loud, but everybody knew it was Tourette, so it was great. So Vince gets a hold of it. I guess the agents on the road saw me doing this stuff over a period of, 6-7 months. Took it to Vince, and I get to TV in Washington, D.C., and Vince walks up to me and says, Dustin, got an idea. Okay, shoot. Tonight, we're going to have Randy Orton and Batista. They're going to throw you into an electrical panel and give you Tourette's. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, I just ribbed myself, man. Now, he wants me to do this on television. Oh, what am I going to do? Okay, sir. Yes, sir. You got it. do the deal, electrocute myself. I get Tourette's. Now it's a lot harder than it seems to. The promos are great, you know, because I can do those all day long in the back with the Tourette stuff. But when you're actually wrestling, and this is what Vince wanted me to do. He wanted me to do it when I'm actually in a move set of something, whether it be a bulldog or a clothesline, and then after the clothesline or mid clothesline or mid lockup, just freak out. And the guy would look at me like, what the f***'s wrong with Goldust, you know? But from what I saw, it didn't resonate with the crowd because the crowd would be like looking at you like, what's wrong with his leg? You know, it wasn't like, I didn't get the reaction that I got with the boys in the back, you know. So, but the promos did. So I had that in my back pocket. So that was how the Tourette's was created, and it was a fun time. It's not personal.
Please give up for Tourette's Goldust, everybody. I wanted to bring this up because I forgot about it until today. There was also a period in 2003 where Goldberg came to WWE and they had you put your wig on his head. And I have been around that man, and he's not a man of comedy, is one way I'd put it.
Has he done one of these?
He did.
How'd he do? Did y'all go to it?
I apologize.
So he's not a man of comedy?
Goldberg is a lovely man who I like very much. So, in 2003, you... Shut up. So in 2003, you are putting your wig on his head. He is coming in from WCW, very serious man who's got a serious character. You have Tourette's and are putting your gold wig on his head. Please just explain that scenario.
That day was very stressful. Very stressful for me because I got word that Goldberg was not going to do that. That is beneath him to have a wig placed on his head. And he said he wasn't going to do it. And he'd been in the office many times talking with Vince about it. And Vince is like, you're going to do this. It's not going to be like you think it is. You're going to do it. You're going to be fine. This is entertainment. He's coming from WCW. You know, this is like one of Vince's ways to say, hey, welcome to WWE. You know, it's just suck it up and do it, you know. But he was fighting it so hard. So, and I know Bill. We're not the best of friends or anything like that, but, you know, I've known him for a long time. So we finally agreed that this is going to go down, and I put the wig on his head, you know, and it was just like, it's kind of a tense situation, so I don't really remember all that much. I do remember that the only thing that would have made it any better is if Mini Goldust would have been in there humping his leg. If he would have come in there and done that, that would have got over. But he just didn't want to do that. You know, he was very scared that he had this image to uphold, and he wanted to look like this freak who, you know, was allowed to do this stuff to him. He wanted to be this tough guy, but Vince had other things in mind.